Welcome to The Beauty Shift, proudly sponsored by Karenique.
For thicker, fuller hair at every age and every stage of a woman's life.
I'm Michelle Phillips.
I'm a celebrity stylist and beauty expert, a national TV personality, and self-confidence coach. And over the years, I've worked with some of the most recognized faces in the world, helping them look and feel their absolute best inside and out.
That ultimate inner outer wow. Now that's true beauty, my friends.
Welcome back to The Beauty Shift. I'm your host, Michelle Phillips. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. I know you're going to be happy you tuned in because the topic we have today is one that I get bombarded with every time I'm out and about in public or at a dinner party and people know what I do for a living. They're always asking me, what do I do about my skincare? What products should I use? What ingredients should I use? I'm overwhelmed with all of the choices out there. And so today's conversation is going to be all about that. You know, as we age, our skin changes and what used to work for us stops working. We're bombarded with mixed messages, with miracle claims and lists of ingredients that sound more like a science experiment than care for our skin, right? So that's why I'm super excited today to have my guest joining us. Her name is Lisa Johnson, and she spent years working in aesthetic medicine and understands both the science behind aging as well as how to support healthy, effective skin in a realistic way. So we're going to unpack what actually is going on with our skin as we're aging, what inflammation has to do with your glow, how to navigate the noise to find out what truly supports your skin's health. And again, this is all about getting educated, and it's about giving you back your confidence when it comes to skincare. So please join me in welcoming Lisa Johnson to the show. Lisa, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have you here today and really excited to pick your brain.
Well, thank you so much. It is here for the picking, and thanks for welcoming me to the show. I'm super excited to chat with you and just have a fun conversation. It already sounds like we have a lot in common.
I know, before we got started, I was like, oh my gosh, we need to just get started recording because we were both just back and forth with, all of our knowledge and sharing all the things that we're doing in the beauty industry. And that's why I've really been looking forward to this conversation with you because, you've been in this business a long time. And I love your aesthetic background and, how you got started. So if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, I have been in this space for a long time. I actually started in aesthetics back in 2003 when aesthetics wasn't really a thing. We had one or two skincare brands in the channel and not a lot of treatment options. And I was a PA for a clinician or a physician in Boise, Idaho, and we owned a practice called the Vein and Skin Institute of Idaho. So I really started, I always tell people I grew up in my career in aesthetics because I started when there was really not a whole lot going on. And now it's just such a booming industry. So I've gotten to play with all of the devices before they all came on market. I was a trainer for a couple of the laser devices. So really always been kind of interested in innovation and helping women look younger, feel better about themselves. And we all know that's so tied to how we look.
Oh, absolutely. And 2003, I mean, I remember, I'm thinking my first laser treatment was probably 2008 because I started getting Fraxel laser for acne at the time. And adult acne, and it was so beneficial, but then it started giving me the anti-aging benefits as well. So it was like,
Those are the side effects.
Yes, I love it. And, still to this day, I do lasers because I feel like it is one of the most natural ways to reverse skin damage, to even reverse signs of aging. Can you talk a little bit about that before we even get into the skincare aspect of things?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I've been playing with new technology in this space for a long time. The doctor that I actually worked for 15 years had one of the very first IPL treatments in 1996. So lasers have been around for a while. We're just kind of coming up with new and innovative ways to use them. I always tell people back in the day, so 03, 05, 08, even when you started, we didn't have as many amazing options as we have today. So back then it was full ablative, full CO2. You had to take a week off of work. You couldn't leave the house for 10 days. If you didn't want somebody to know, you just had something done. And now today we have these minimally invasive, very precise. You could literally come into my office and have a treatment on your lunch hour and go back to work now that we have amazing post-procedure care, and no one would even know you had anything done. Now, that being said, I think the kind of stigma around having things done has also lifted, which I think is so incredibly important. Back in '05, when I was treating women with Botox, it was, don't tell my husband. If you ever see my husband out and about, don't tell him, and don't tell my friends. I know they come here too. And that's all really lifted. We're actually having great conversations around treatments. We're sharing ideas with each other. And it's become this kind of collaborative environment where we can actually talk about things, which I think is so key. And in terms of anti-aging, I think lasers and treatments in the office are the number one thing you can do to look younger. I always tell people skincare is not going to make you look younger, which people are always shocked because I'm in skincare and we have an amazing skincare brand. But it's not going to shave 10, 12, 15 years off your skin. But a laser may do that. And even if you have a laser procedure, you still need something for the skin. I always used to get into these conversations with my plastic surgeon kind of cohorts, and I would say, you need to sell skincare. And they'd say, why? I'm a surgeon. I'll just do a facelift. But that doesn't do anything for your skin. So it really is a combination therapy that's going to give people the best results. You absolutely have to pre-treat and post-treat, but going into the clinic is the number one thing you can do, especially on a consistent basis. I think you're smart for doing it, once a year, every 6 months, even
Yeah.
just having a bit of a touch-up. You don't have to have something super invasive to get the results that you're looking for.
I agree. I mean, you brought up so many different points that, the first one is the stigma that is associated with having treatments
Mhm.
done, whether that be lasers, whether that be, Botox or things like that. I'm a huge fan, though, of making sure that you go to the right person because a lot of times we don't need things. And women are being kind of, well, I say that they're more lured into the idea that they need to have injections, that they need to have fillers, that they need to do X, Y, Z. It's a personal choice. I've gotten Botox
Mhm.
throughout the years here and there. It's not something I do often because I find that the lasers build the collagen naturally, and so therefore fillers and Botox and things like that to me are not something that I personally choose often. I've done Botox occasionally, if I feel like, oh my
Sure.
word, the crow's feet, I just want to soften. But, or I've done Sculptra, which is more of a natural filler that naturally rebuilds collagen in your
Mhm.
skin. But it is a personal choice, and I feel as if the more that we're educated on what these treatments do, who they're good for and who they're not good for, and if you find good practitioners such as yourself, then you really can, reverse signs of aging and skin damage, like you said. It's just, to me, it's been my yearly go-to. My my kids and my husband are used to me coming home with a red face, and that's it. Mom's looking weird for a few days, and now, like you said, there's less downtime. But when I first met my husband, we started dating like years ago. I was like, okay, you need to understand I'm in the beauty industry, and I'm going to do a few things. And he's like, okay. But yeah, but I do have women coming to me like, what should I do? I don't want to look like a freak. I don't want anybody to know I'm having anything done. I want to look like myself. And that's the end game, is you want to look like you, which is why I think lasers
Yeah.
are, for me, a really good thing.
Yeah, and a laser is a great place to start. Even if people are just trying to kind of get into it and want to get their feet wet, I always recommend an IPL or a BBL treatment because that's kind of the gateway into treating your skin, and you can kind of feel it out and see what you think. But you're right. Who you go to as a clinician is by far the most important part of it all. I used to give my patients, when they would come in for a consult, a mirror, and I'd say, okay, tell me what bothers you. Because as a clinician, I can look at someone and go, oh, I could fill out their cheeks, or I could laser this, or I could laser that. And that may not be what bothers them. right? And ultimately, patients are there because they want to feel better about themselves. They don't need to come to you saying, I could fix this and I could fix that. I remember this story. I had this amazing little old lady. I say she was probably in her 70s at the time, but I was in my 30s at the time, so that seemed really old. It doesn't seem that old today, but she came into me and she said, "I have a family reunion to go to, and my ex-husband's going to be there, and I just want to look better." And I handed her a mirror, and I remember looking at her, going, "Okay, I could fill her lips a little bit. I could treat this. I could treat that." I handed her the mirror, and I said, "What bothers you the most?" And she said, "These little tiny acne scars." And I literally was like, "What acne scars?" I couldn't even see them. But had I come out and said, "You need lip filler and you need this and you need a laser and you need all of this," she would have been totally overwhelmed and not gotten what she wanted out of the consult. So I learned that lesson very early on. And I think that's what really makes a good practitioner. I also think we all just want to feel youthful. And a lot of that comes from, we look at pictures of ourselves when we're in our 20s and we want to look more towards that, not looking like somebody that you don't know or a movie star or whoever. I always used to tell patients that I can't give you different structure of your face, but I can make you look more like you were 20 years ago. And so I think when you're choosing a clinician, those types of conversations, I used to always have my patients bring in pictures of them 20 years ago and say, "Okay, what did you look like then? And how can we start to reverse that aging process?"
That's great, great knowledge and things for people to think about when they're really choosing a practitioner. Because I just had a conversation a couple weeks ago. I was at a conference and I met some women. They asked me what I did for a living, and they said, we have such a hard time. Or they were asking me about treatments, lasers. And this one girl said, "I recently went to a practitioner, a physician, who told me all these things that he thought was wrong with my face." And she said, "I walked out of there feeling horrible about myself. And I didn't even feel that bad about myself before I walked in the door." And that's what's giving
Yep.
this business a bad name, is people who are
Yep.
just saying, "Oh, I could puff you up, not puff you up, but fill your cheeks
Yeah.
and do all these things," which, again, we all see each other through a different lens. And so I think it's
Absolutely.
wonderful that you offer that and that you've put that out there, because if anybody is looking for a practitioner and that practitioner decides to just come at you with all the things that they think need to be corrected, then steer clear. Is my advice as well.
When we buy new devices, lasers are expensive. We do have to make those laser payments. So I've seen a lot of practitioners, good practitioners, that kind of slip into that. Well, I also need to keep my doors open and pay my laser payment, right? But it's really, you want that person that has the reputation of, doing what you want to do, not what they think you need to do. And I think that this industry has kind of played off of women's insecurities. And that's where the marketing piece comes in, right? We can all market on insecurities and we can all see that and go, "Oh, I need that," right? But it's really about having a relationship and that confidence in your practitioner. And it really is about building a relationship, right? You're dating that person, you're coming in with a lot of trust and asking for help. So it's really, really important to have that good relationship.
Agreed so much. I just, especially as we're aging, we were talking about this before the show started. As we're aging, you and I are both at the age where that, the perimenopause, menopause thing starts settling in. And every woman that I know that's coming to me is going through this as well. And just starting to, you go through this phase where you start to kind of fall apart in terms of not necessarily how you look, but just mentally how you're starting to feel about yourself, because your body's changing, because your skin's changing. And then over time, you start to see, more crepey skin, more wrinkles, more sagging. Your hormones are changing. Your hair's changing. Your makeup doesn't go on like it used to. I mean, everything, right? It's like this beauty breakdown, I call it. And so that's really been my mission now, is helping women that are going through menopause, especially giving them resources on my website to go to help, to educate, because we're kind of going through the same self-esteem challenges as we did when we were like going through puberty. It's just now we're later stage of
Yeah.
life. How are you guiding
Yeah.
women through this process in your business?
Women especially, because women are the consumers of 80% of goods in the world, right? We're buying all the things, we're making the suggestions. Even if we have a husband, we're telling them what to buy, right? So women are the consumers. But I also think women are kind of tired of being lied to and fooled by marketing companies. And that's one of the things that we really stand for at Epicutis is we are not a marketing company that happens to sell skincare. We tell this story all the time. When you fly United, it's not the friendly skies, right? It's really not. It's a marketing campaign to get you on that plane, to get you to buy that ticket. And that's really something that we stand for is we never want to, play on people's insecurities, give them false hopes that something's going to shave 10 years off their face when we know that's maybe a 1 in 99% chance that that could happen. And really just kind of being honest with people. We also want to be the beacon of truth in aesthetics because there are so many new devices out there. The technology in aesthetics is changing so quickly. We want to be the source that people can come for an unbiased opinion on what should I do? Where can I have a consult? Who do you trust? So that there's a little bit of vetting process before you just go out on Instagram or TikTok and find your provider, because that pendulum I think is going to shift back into that kind of beacon of truth. And so that's what we really focus on in all of our marketing, all of our who we partner with. I mean, you first and foremost have to be a great clinician in order to sell our product, right? We're not looking to be everywhere. We're looking to be in the right hands. And I think when you have that type of ethics and that in your mind when it comes to marketing, I think we can all win. And it really is about building community. Like you said, all of my friends are asking me, what hormone cream are you on? What are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? And really it's about kind of coming together and saying this worked for me, and knowing that that may not work for me, but it worked for my friend, and just kind of keeping an open mind about trying new things and not doing everything at once. That's the other thing I really see women, oh, I'm going to make a change, or I'm going to get fit, or I'm going to go on a diet. And they try to do everything at once. And it's just not realistic to stick to. I teach people that in skincare, don't change everything, change one thing and try it for 3 months, and then change another thing and see if it works. But I think sometimes we get a bit impatient. We wonder why we haven't gone to the gym for a week and we haven't lost that 5 pounds. What the heck is going on? And so I think patience is also key, with surrounding yourself with other people that are struggling with the same things.
Absolutely. I love the community aspect, which is what I'm all about as well. The more we can
Mhm.
support each other and exchange ideas, the better. You also
Yep.
know that you're not alone going through these changes, and what may work for me may not work for you, but as long as we can share our ideas, then it just gives us, a little bit more hope and things that we can explore for ourselves. So I absolutely love that. And I also love when you're talking about seeking truth and how that has become more and more prevalent in the world of beauty. I think it's prevalent everywhere, but especially beauty when women are going through changes and they are seeking answers. My daughters are, late 20s, early 30s. They follow Instagrammers or YouTubers, and they can buy whatever they want, and they try all different types of things. And I encourage them not to do that because I'm like, please don't use your face as a science experiment. But they're younger and they don't have as much sensitivity as we have as we're aging, right? And so I'm always begging women, please make sure that you're getting your information from someone who's a professional in the industry, whether it's skin or makeup or hair, whatever that may be, because a lot of times we're given information based on, an influencer just being sent products or being paid to talk about something. And it's not always coming from a professional point of view, educating women on what or what not to use. So I love that you're talking about that, how we're really seeking truth. And it's important for us to do the research and do the homework.
Yeah, I really try to convince women that skincare is healthcare. It's not about, like you said, your daughters having this science experiment on their face. Your skin is the largest organ in your body, and it's the only organ we have access to. If you had access to your heart or could see your heart, how would you, choose different life choices because you're seeing what's happening, right? So I really try to convince people is think about your skincare as healthcare. Because it is a large organ. What you put on your skin is eventually getting into your bloodstream, which is so incredibly important. I mean, you've seen some of these kind of clean beauty documentaries coming out. It's becoming more prevalent. People are more concerned about ingredients and things in their skincare products, but really think about it as healthcare. And I think, the beauty industry has sort of been co opted by the fashion industry. And what you buy is kind of a status symbol. Try your best to get that out of your mind and think about it as what am I putting in my body? And that's how you should choose your skincare, not by somebody on Instagram. Although there's great content on Instagram, I'm not saying everything is bad, but switching all the time and not having that consistency is really, your skin health is really going to pay for that.
I just want to take a quick moment to thank our amazing sponsor, Keranique, the go-to brand for women's hair growth solutions. If you're looking for healthier, thicker, more beautiful hair, no matter what hair concerns you have, Keranique has got you covered. Their products are clinically proven and dermatologist recommended, offering a complete hair care system, including treatments, shampoos, conditioners, and supplements to help you achieve stronger, fuller looking hair from the inside out. So whether you're starting your hair regrowth journey or maintaining gorgeous, healthy locks, Keranique has a solution for you. And as a Beauty Shift listener, you get 25% off site-wide. All you have to do is head over to store.keranique.com and use the code BeautyShift25 at checkout. Thanks again, Keranique, for supporting the Beauty Shift and helping women everywhere feel confident and beautiful. So now let's get back to the show.
Absolutely. And from your point of view, what are some of the ingredients that you think are really vital to include in our skincare routine?
So it's funny, people ask me this all the time because I have been in the space for a long time and I've seen a lot of evolution in technology and laser devices, but I really haven't seen a lot of innovation in skincare. There hasn't been a lot of new ingredients hitting the space. I mean, vitamin C came out in the 80s. We're still using it today. There are better ingredients out there than vitamin C. Niacinamide, same thing. Retinol started as a drug, came into the cosmetic world at a lower concentration, been around for 30 years, right? So there really hasn't been a lot of innovation in skincare. And that's really why we launched Epicutis, because we wanted to bring new innovation in ingredients that people hadn't seen before that were really paired towards healthy skin. But I always say when it comes to choosing your skincare products, the fewer number of ingredients is the most important thing. I think a lot of companies kind of take this kitchen sink approach and put botanicals and, harsh extracts and enzymes and fruit acids, and it's just too many things. And I think that that's what's causing a lot of, women our age to have sensitivity, because we're building up that sensitivity to all of those ingredients. So when it comes to choosing, it's not just about one or two ingredients. It's looking for the cleanest formulation that you can. And that doesn't just mean kind of clean ingredients. It means simple formulations that are going to give you that power of the active that it's trying to give you, right? Not bundling it with 10 different things and trying to keep it multifunctional. That's, I believe, the most important thing, not just choosing one ingredient, but just making sure your formulations are simple, they're clean, and they're giving you what you need, not just, a gamish of everything out there.
Exactly. Or just kind of sitting on the top of your skin. Like a friend of mine in the skincare industry, she's like, yeah, but some of the things that you get at the drugstore, they just basically wet the top of your skin. It might feel like moisturizer, but they don't have the active ingredients. And that's what I'm always trying to share with my clients, my followers, my friends, is really looking at active ingredients. And for me, I always choose science-backed, medical grade skincare.
Yeah.
And so I would love for you to share what that means as opposed to, buying skincare in the drugstore or sometimes even department stores.
Yeah. So Again, because I've been in the space so long, I actually started selling Obagi, which was the very first kind of medical grade skincare brand back in '03. I had it in my
Yeah, that's what
practice.
I've started off
And
using too.
that's where that term medical grade skincare came in, because Dr. Obagi put a lot of research into this product and then everybody else kind of followed suit. But what does medical grade skincare mean? It means nothing. It means it's sold in a doctor's office. There's a medical provider there that's able to place the opening order to stock the retail. Medical grade skincare to me means every single ingredient is of the highest quality and pharmaceutical grade when applied. So in Epicutis, for example, every single ingredient is pharmaceutical grade quality. So that means it's absolutely pure. And when you talk about science-based skincare, why it's so important is because we treat our skincare like we develop drugs, and purity is absolutely our standard. I think we've all seen contaminants in different skincare products off the drugstore shelf, the benzenes in the sunscreen. It's because the formulation is not treated as kind of medical grade. It's not treated as a drug. And again, coming back to making sure that skincare is healthcare, that's the way you should be looking at it. And that means trusting who is formulating this, where is it manufactured. You should know all of that if you're putting something on your skin, right? You should know where it comes from, where each ingredient comes from, why each ingredient is in the formulation, what's it doing for you? Is it a preservative? Is it something I could react to? Because, like we said, sensitivities are high. And if there's 40 ingredients in a formulation, the chances of you reacting to one of those is pretty high. And unfortunately, skincare hasn't been the term medical grade has just really come from, again, that marketing. It's having a doctor's name behind it. It's being a medical provider in order to sell it. That's not medical grade skincare. It's really that pharmaceutical purified formulation that makes it medical grade.
Absolutely. And it's not putting drugs on your face. I think when people think pharmaceutical, they're like, am I putting something that's like a drug on your face? No. I mean, the efficacy of the ingredients as well as the molecular structure, correct? To where it can
Mhm.
actually penetrate your skin and make a difference
Yeah.
as opposed to just be a topical is really important as well, which is
Yeah,
the
the size
pharmaceutical
of the
grade.
molecule is what's so important. So it has to be under 500 kilodaltons to penetrate through the stratum corneum and get into the active layers of the skin. So that number one is huge. The other thing, when you're buying kind of drugstore or even prestige channel skincare, the concentration of the actives is the lowest in those channels because the actives are the most expensive, right? So they're going to put as low concentration of active as physically possible just to say it's in there. So again, they can use it as a marketing story. Whereas a biotech company such as us, we're using high concentrations of actives to give you the results you're looking for. It's not about reducing cost of goods.
Yes, exactly. And you mentioned something earlier in our conversation about, skincare is not going to turn back, the aging process 10 years or even 5
Mhm.
years. But again, it does improve your skin tone and texture. It helps, for sure, preventative. I have seen my skin turn around and so much better, like clarity, and brown aging spots are fading, and my skin, people were like, oh my gosh, your skin looks great. And when I've gone, okay, maybe I'll try something different, and then it just doesn't have the active ingredients that I was using prior to, I'll go back to it. So can you share like what good skincare, what we should expect when we're using a good skincare?
Yeah, the reason that your skin looks better is because it's healthier. Because healthy skin, the side effect is it's brighter, it's less brown, it's less red, there's less wrinkles. Those are all side effects of healthy skin. So when I say, if you are in your 50s and you maybe have quite a few wrinkles or you're trying to reduce sun damage, that's stuff that you're paying for from your 20s. So just skincare alone is not going to reverse all of that. Yes, it will help. Even hydrated skin, one use of a moisturizer can make your skin look younger because it's healthier. So really the goal is healthy skin, not younger looking skin. Because if you have healthy skin, the side effect is it's going to look better. And everything that we see on our skin, whether it be wrinkles, brown, red, crepiness, all of that comes from some sort of inflammation, whether it be from sun exposure for over the years, toxic ingredients in your skincare products, pollution, stress, lack of sleep. Those are all inflammatory driven. So if you can reduce inflammation and increase the health of the skin, it's going to look younger. It's going to look better. It's going to look brighter. The tone and texture is going to be better. So really the goal is healthy skin, not younger looking skin. And that's kind of the conversation that we're trying to change, because I always say, again, if you want to look younger, you need to go see an expert and have some treatments, and then use great skincare at home to really protect your investment of those in treatments. Because I see a lot of women going in having $5,000 laser packages, and then they're using drugstore products at home. And it really is a combination therapy. It's what you're doing before, what you're doing after, and what you're doing in the treatment room. And you want to get the most bang for your buck. I mean, even if you can afford a laser, you don't want to just waste your money. And having great skincare to follow that up is what's going to preserve that investment and protect that investment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can go have a treatment and have reverse the aging damage of your skin, but your skin starts aging the next day.
Mhm. Yep.
So it's not, I think people think, oh, if I go have a treatment or if I get a little neck lift or whatever, then I'm one and done. It's not like that. You're always aging. So you really want to make sure that you're using the right products at home to really enhance that and protect your skin from going backwards.
Right.
Also, I know you talk a lot about gut health,
Mhm.
right? And that
Yeah.
really affects your skin. I would love you
Mhm.
to share the importance of gut health.
I always tell people the 800-pound gorilla in the room is the microbiome, right? And we all know about the microbiome in the belly because it's been studied for a long time. And we have kombucha and we have all these fermented foods that we know are great for the belly. And honestly, what you see on your skin is typically a reflection of what's going on in your body. So, gut health is so incredibly important and really tied to brain health as well as skin health. Those are all three very related. But one of the things that we're starting to discover is we have that same microbial population on our skin. So the microbial population on our skin is just as important to the health of our skin as it is in our gut, but it hasn't been studied as much. There hasn't been a lot of research, but we're really coming out with a lot of research and development around the microbiome of the skin. And what we've discovered over the last several years is the more ingredients and the more products you're putting on your skin, the worse it is for your microbial health. And the microbial health is really what's going to give you the health of the skin. It's really the underlying cause, just like it is in the belly. But what we know is you want diversity in your belly. So you want to eat different kinds of foods, fermented foods, and have that diverse population in your belly, but you don't want diversity on your skin. So when you talk about finding a product that you love and not changing, because every time you change, your skin gets worse, it's because all of those microbes on your skin have to get used to every single ingredient in that new skincare product. If you're trying a new 5-step regimen and they all have 40 to 50 ingredients, your skin is now trying to get used to all of those chemicals. And they are all chemicals, right?
Yeah.
So our microbial health is so, so important, and consistency across the board is number one key for microbial health on the skin. And then again, keeping as few ingredients as possible, keeping that change. That skin cycling is one of the things that drives me insane. If you get to a point where the product's not working any longer, it probably never worked long term. So you don't need to skin cycle. It's really about finding the right product and sticking with it long term, because that's what's going to increase the health of the skin through that microbial health.
Right. And using less products. Less is more. Isn't
It
that
sure
right?
is. It sure
Yeah.
is.
You just don't need, I feel like, again, when you're talking about marketing, more and more brands are just like, okay, next thing you know, they've given you 10 steps and it's it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
necessary. Even with makeup with women, I'm always like, less is more. Please do not keep adding and adding and adding, because it's not beneficial and damaging in a lot of ways, can be very damaging.
It's very damaging, and that's what's really driving this sensitivity. When I started my practice in '03, nobody had sensitive skin. Now everybody I run into says I have sensitive skin. And that is a sensitization over using all of these toxic ingredients in skincare, in makeup. I mean, the whole industry really needs to clean up the formulations, and a lot of companies are doing a great job kind of being ahead of that trend. But sensitivities come from all of these things that we're applying day after day. The other kind of elephant in the room is when you have a 5 to 7 step regimen, I don't care who you are not doing that consistently twice a day, every day. I mean, I run into people all the time that say, I'm really good about my skincare. And I say, how often do you wash your face at night before bed? And they say, well, at least 5 nights a week. Well, that really probably means 3, right? Because if your skincare regimen is really complicated, you're not going to stick with it, which again, consistency is key. So keeping it simple, making sure every product is multifunctional. You do not need an eye cream if your products are safe enough to go around the orbital rim. So
Right.
things like that I think are really important. And I feel like a lot of skincare brands are very bloated in the amount of SKUs that they have. And I think the new trend is going to be simplifying it. And that's where we come in. I mean, we have a 3 step regimen twice a day, same product in the morning, same product at night. And we find that people are able to stick with it and their skin gets better just because of consistency.
Yeah, that's really important. Keeping it simple, and that way you stick to it. And also, really good ingredients. With the skincare and prevention and correcting problems, as we're getting older. You mentioned some ingredients that you feel are more unique today and that are really worth looking into incorporating into your skincare routine? What would you advise, at least maybe one or two that are really important? Because I know retin A and vitamin C have always been very important on the list, but you kind of mentioned that you've got some other ideas there. So I'd love to know.
Yeah. So
Because
we
I'm a
definitely.
retinol and vitamin C girl, but retinol can be very drying, so you have to be very careful.
Yeah. And retinol was never meant to be used every day, twice a day. It also makes you extremely sun sensitive. So for me, it was never an option because I love to be outside. If I wasn't right here with you, I'd be sitting out on my porch in the sun, enjoying the outdoors, right? Of course, with my sunscreen on, but retinol was never meant to be used for the rest of our lives twice a day. And it sure as heck wasn't meant for our teenage daughters to be using it. Right. So I think that there is a place for retinols and things like that. But you're right. They can be very toxic. They can be very harsh for the skin. And not a lot of people's skin can handle a retinol use every single day. Although we've all kind of been brainwashed thinking if we want to look younger, we need to have retinol in our product. And what we're finding, it's just not the case anymore. Vitamin C, again, another great ingredient from the 80s and 90s when it first came out. But what we know is vitamin C is great when we ingest it, but it's very unstable when we put it on our skin. That's why a lot of you will notice that your vitamin C products will turn colors after 2, 3 weeks. It's because the ingredient is very unstable. So we know a lot more about ingredients than we do even 20 years ago. And that's what we've really been focused on is developing new ingredients for the skincare industry. And the ingredients from Signum Biosciences are all very small molecules. They're very lipid-like, which our skin is just lipid, same with our brain. So you need a lipid to actually penetrate all 3 layers of the skin. And all of our ingredients are very anti-inflammatory. So the latest ingredient that I'm most excited about is our arctogenin brightening. And arctogenin is the only anti-inflammatory or the only brightening product on the market that's also an anti-inflammatory. So again, when you talk about multifunctionality, you're brightening the skin, but you're also reducing inflammation to increase the health of the skin. So all of our actives are very unique. They're all patented. They come from 20 years of biotech research, over $20 million in patents alone. And that's really where we're going with the space is starting to kind of bring these new innovative ingredients that are very anti-inflammatory, very safe for the microbiome of the skin. And very stable. You don't need any preservatives or anything in any of these ingredients, which again cuts down the amount of ingredients in the skincare products, which cuts down on the chance that you could react to something.
Right, because when you think of brightening, and we were talking about, brands way back when, they used to use hydroquinone to brighten your skin.
Mhm.
We found out that that was damaging because I was using it when I was in my 30s, you know, but it would
Yeah.
actually kind of bleach the skin. So it's really important now, such as what you're talking about, that your ingredients are safe and naturally brightening and not harsh.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to sacrifice safety for beauty. And that's
Right.
always been our motto. I mean, we put all of our teenagers on Proactive for a million years because it worked, but we were wondering why it was bleaching all of our towels, right? So
Yeah.
what's the downside of that benefit? I mean, if you go on and God forbid you have to get on Accutane because you have such bad acne as a teenager. I mean, you literally sign a release saying, don't get pregnant. You could have birth defects in your child. And we really believe that if you can't use your skincare products when you're pregnant or breastfeeding, you should never use them. So don't sacrifice the health of your body for beauty. Don't sacrifice safety for beauty. There are other ways. There are great companies such as ourselves and many others that are looking for new innovative ways to really treat the skin without having any kind of harmful side effects.
Yes. Ugh, great information, Lisa. We could spend a whole nother hour with you. This has been
Well, I'd love to come
fantastic.
back.
I know. Let's do it for
Let's
sure,
do it.
please.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's just so much more we could get into, but I know people are going to want to know how they can learn more about you as well as your brand. Where can people go?
Yeah, absolutely. So epicutis.com is always a great resource. You can look at all of our science, all of our products are there. We're also big on Instagram, Epicutis on Instagram. You can find me specifically. I'm Lisa Joe at Signum, which is the company that produces Epicutis, the skincare brand. So I'm all over. I'm on LinkedIn. I would love to chat with anybody that wants to learn more about their or even just talk about your journey. I mean, I'm on it with you, and I would encourage all of you. This is a journey. It's not an end result tomorrow. It really is a marathon, not a sprint. So stick with it. There are lots of things out there that you can do. There's a lot of information, and there's amazing people like you. And I love that you are just kind of bringing this community of people that we're all struggling with the same thing. You're not alone. So I appreciate you bringing me on and really bringing me into your community. I'd love to add any kind of value that I can.
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate your compliment, and I just got chills because I really do feel like it would be great to have you as part of more of my community, my membership for women, as well as other things I'm doing to support women. Because I feel like the more they have access to experts such as yourself, the better it's going to be to help everyone feel like, okay, we're supported, we're getting educated, and we are not in the most difficult time of our life. We're in the prime of our
Yeah,
life. It's time
exactly.
to rock who we
Exactly.
are, right? And it's
Yes.
possible. It's just we're overwhelmed a lot of times. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing as well. And I'm just so blessed that we came across each other's paths and that you were able to do the show today.
Yes, thank you so much. And I look forward to coming back and talking about some more fun science. I'm just a science geek at heart that happens to be at a skincare company. So anytime you want to geek out on that stuff, I'm happy to.
Okay, well, I'm going to hold you to it. So
Okay.
thank you. What a great conversation. Lisa, thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to share your insights in the world of skincare. It was less overwhelming and more empowering. I hope what you got from today's conversation is this: your skin is changing and you deserve to be educated so you can make better choices based on what your skin needs. Also, remember, your skin is the living, breathing organ that protects your body. So take care of it like that. It's another way of thinking of it, right? And most of all, do what feels right for you and don't be afraid to ask questions. I am here for you. On my website, michellephillips.com, I have free resources when it comes to skincare, when it comes to aging skin, when it comes to hair care, when it comes to makeup. I have tons of downloads for you to help support you in getting educated to make the right decisions for you, because that's the bottom line. The beauty shift is really about shifting your perspective on beauty by educating you so you have the tools, the resources, and the knowledge to do what's right for you. And as always, thank you so much for being a part of the beauty shift. Let's keep learning, keep evolving, and keep showing up radiant and real for ourselves and each other. Take care.
I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Carinique, for thicker, fuller hair at every age and every stage of a woman's life. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please feel free to share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you'd like to receive my free beauty and wellness gifts, just go to my website, michellephillips.com. I also invite you to join my social media community on Facebook and Instagram, Michelle Phillips Beauty.